Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Keeping Fish Simple. So in today's video, we're going to be doing another vlog. Now, we're going to be doing a few exciting things. A few things have happened since the last time I saw you. So our little royal whiptails are doing really good so far. So in the last video, we got the eggs and we hatched them out. Now, they're currently in a little fry tray and they're all starting to eat really well. I've actually linked up my auto feeding system to the fry tray and I'll show you that in a second, but I'm feeding a bunch of rapashi and some egg yolk, and I'm also feeding baby brine shrimp when I'm in the fish room, and they're all doing really good, so I'll give you guys an update on those guys. We've had more spawns from some of our plecos, so we've currently got a spawn from our L333s, which means we've bred our L333s, our L270s, our L397s, and our L201s all in the same week. I don't know how we've done this. Everything's happening so quickly in this fish room, and as you guys will know, plecos are some of my favorite fish in the entire hobby, so I'm super stoked about that. We also at the moment have a small spawn of German blue rams that'll need to get introduced into a fry system with the auto feeder, so we're going to do that in today's vlog. And one of the other things I just remembered is we need to strip 2 big peppermint bristlenose spawns into a tank for those fish to grow out, and so that our peppermint bristlenose can continue to breed. So much is happening in the fish room, I just can't believe it. But without any further ado, let's go have a look at these little whiptails.
Okay, so if we come over to this container, you can see here we have our little royal whiptails. Now, these guys have been doing fantastic since the last episode, and I've only lost about 1 or 2. Now, I've been feeding them baby brine shrimp like I've been talking about before, and I've also been feeding them some rapashi and some egg yolk through the auto feeding system that I've been using for the rams. So this auto feeding system kind of came in just on time to get these guys all the way through. I think that's definitely essential for breeding these guys right now, but like I said, I don't want to get too confident because I don't know whether we're going to have some kind of losses in the future. I'm guessing that as they get a little bit bigger, keeping up with those feedings might be a little bit more tricky, so we'll see how these guys go. Now if we come over to our L201 tank, you can see in here that I'm pulling out the eggs. This is because the male kicked out a wriggler, and I didn't want to take my chances with the male kicking out all of the wrigglers, and I thought it'd be best just to pull the eggs before they all hatched, and it was only going to take about a day for these eggs to hatch. So you can see here, I pulled the eggs out of the cave and I put them in this cyst tumbler. Now these guys will tumble as eggs for probably about 24 hours, and then they'll hatch into the little wrigglers, and then we can move them into a breeder box. So hopefully everything goes good with these guys. As you can see in this tray here, we have the original German blue rams from our auto feeding video, and I decided that now they're a little bit bigger, it's probably time to move them into a big tank. So you can see here, I moved these guys upstairs to the tank directly above them with our royal whiptail breeders, and you can see them all swimming around, so they're a little bit skittish, but moving them into these big tanks helps a lot to promote quick growth, and I'm sure they're going to do fantastic in here. Also, if you come have a look in our L397 tumbler, I thought that these guys were now large enough to move them into a fry box. So I put a new fry box in place of where the German blue ram one was, and put these guys into that fry box because I needed the space for a new batch of L397 tiger pleco eggs to go into. So you can see here I'm setting up the tumbler with the L397 eggs, and everything hopefully will go okay with these eggs and they'll hatch out perfectly. Now over on the other side of the fish room, I noticed that the wrigglers in one of the peppermint bristlenose caves were now ready to come out and be moved into their own grow out tank. So you can see here I went ahead and grabbed the cave out, and the male just jumped out straight away. And what I like to do is set up a little container with some tank water and just slowly work those fry out by twisting the cave around. And you can see here in this batch we had quite a few in here. I think there's probably about 100 in this batch, maybe 120. So I was really happy about that. I then moved these guys into their own tank, and that's basically it for these guys. I just put them in a 2-foot tank with a bit of food, and they normally do pretty well.
Okay, so it's been a few more days since I last saw you guys, and over on the other side of the fish room I've done a few things off camera. As you guys would know, I did have that L333 spawn, and I did take that out, I think this morning. Yeah, this morning. I've had a couple of busy days in the fish room packing orders and taking fish out just to clear up space for future breeding projects. So some of those future breeding projects are obviously going to be with my bedders that I showed you guys in the last video, and I want to do a few more videos on the neon tetras and try and get those guys to breed properly again. I guess I shouldn't say breed properly, but I want to try and raise those fry again because I kind of failed at it last time. Just wasn't good timing with the project, and I think there's still a lot of work that we need to do with them. But for the rest of the vlog, I thought that I might as well update you guys on what I'm finding interesting in the fish room at the moment. So I'm going to show you guys some fry. I'm going to do some feeding in the fish room, and I guess just grab the camera and take you guys around and show you what kind of happens in the afternoon when I come to the fish room. So the first thing I do when I come to the fish room is feed the babies. Okay, so here's the room at the moment, and you can see just how messy this place gets. I mean, there's like cloths out. I use this cloth for putting up behind a fish tank so it doesn't have glare. So that one's out. I don't know why I haven't cleaned that up yet. The hoses are out. There's a random pine cone there. Wait. Now you can see it. There's a random pine cone there. I guess quickly you guys can see that our pothos is doing great. So we planted that a few vlogs ago and that's growing fantastic. I haven't checked this one up here yet. Oh, wow. So you can see that pothos up there is doing really well as well. This guy's doing great. You can see he's growing fantastic as well. I might actually take some of these stems and replant them in some of the tanks. I actually tried that. If you come over here and have a look up there, you can see there I planted him, but he hasn't actually grown that much, but he's still alive, so I'm guessing he will grow at some point. If we come on over the other side of the fish room, you can see there's more mess along the floor, but we can also have a look at these other plants I got over here. So you can see up here, we've got our Monstera. There's a huge leaf here, and there's actually a little baby leaf down there. So he's doing well. And a Calathea Freddy, oh, my finger's so annoying with this autofocus. He was planted up the back there, and I think I just moved him up here. You can see he's doing okay. This one's melted back a little bit. There's some dead leaves on him, but for the most part, he's actually doing pretty well. There's some new leaves growing on him, and we're gonna find a better spot for him in the fish room. The reason I had to move him is because I had a bunch of fry up on there, and I needed the space for the fry rather than having just a random house plant that doesn't really do anything for the fish keeping. I know that I'm not a house plant guy, I'm a fish guy, and I wanted to show you what's going on over in this fry rack. So you can see over here, we've had a few things happen since I last saw you. First things first, in here we have a black ram spawn, and this is a blue-black male and a dark night female mixed together. So we do have some fertilized eggs. I'm gonna be really interested to see how these fry turn out. So they're doing really well. They're in there just until they hatch out. The reason I've got them in here is because I've currently got the aircon off in the room to try and get some more pleco spawns, and this is the only tank that's warm enough to actually raise these guys up. You can see every time I do this, our little blue-black rams come up because they think they're gonna get a bite to eat, but you can quickly have a look at them too. They're doing great. These guys have got some really good fins. They're actually available down below if you're in Australia and you want to pick up a pair. There's also some blue ones in here too. And there was a couple of midnights in here somewhere. You can see there's a midnight ram down there. Now these little midnight rams, there's only about 3 or 4 in this spawn. They actually grow a lot slower than the other fish in the tank, and I'm not too sure why. There's a bigger one there, that's a female one there. Good looking girl. There's a bit of algae on the tank because I've had the lights on 24/7, but anyways, we'll give them a feed in a sec. I really love feeding them. In our little fry tray next door, you can see we've got the royal Whiptails, and they're doing great too. I actually haven't had any losses with these guys yet, and I'm wondering if it's that I'm having success with the auto feeding system and they're doing really well because of that, or whether I'm just waiting for Armageddon and in like a couple of weeks time they're all just gonna fall. They've all been doing really well for the moment in time. They're all growing and I haven't had any losses yet, so I don't know whether that's up to me like I just said before, but again, tank next door. These fry boxes are a little bit annoying to look in, so I'll come over with my phone and give you some good B-roll. In here we have the blue ram spawn from the start of the video, and you can see just how quickly these guys develop. They're all on baby brine shrimp now, and they're all eating and doing great. Not much to say about these guys. Not a massive spawn, but still, lots of little spawns are great. They all add up, and yeah, these blue rams are in really high demand. I can't really keep them in stock, so I'm glad to have a couple of these in this fry system. Over next door, these guys aren't ready for a feeding yet, but in here we have the L397s from the last video. These guys have been moved out of this tumbler into this fry box. They're all doing really well. They've actually moved from one of the corners where they were hiding in previously, and they've actually started to come and hide underneath that Indian arm leaf that you can see there. So they've all been hiding underneath that, and they're actually starting to get their color, and they're massive. Like, these guys are so much bigger than peppermint bristlenose and just normal bristlenose fry. Yeah, we've only got 10 in here, but once they're ready to eat in a couple of days, we'll give them some baby brine shrimp, and we'll also give them some rapassion, and I'm sure they'll do fantastic. But moving on down from here, if we have a look in our tumblers, you can see down here, our little L201 eggs that we hatched out have all turned into little wrigglers. We've got 10 of them in here currently, and I'm guessing that these guys are all gonna grow up fantastic, but they're super cute. And these are a lot smaller than the L397s. I'm really keen to see what they look like when they're little babies. You can see we got a little Dark Knight Ram there, getting confused thinking these guys are a meal. They're definitely not. They're really cute. They'll probably be in here for another 3 or 4 days, and then I can move them into a fry tote. But yeah, I'm super happy that they hashed out and did well. And then next door, we have a little bit of a cocktail mix of eggs in here. In here we have 10 hashed out wrigglers of some L397s. So the spawn that I got earlier on, the second spawn with heaps of eggs, we had more fungus issues. So I only ended up with 10 viable eggs that hashed out, and we've got 10 viable wrigglers in here. And then we also have some L333 eggs in here. We actually have quite a lot of them, about 15 of them. They haven't hatched out yet, but this morning I did see the female kicked out one wriggler, and that was enough for me to pull them out. I thought that it was time for them to go into this tumbler because that female is probably just going to eat them tomorrow. I wasn't ready for her to do that, so I threw them in here, and I'm guessing they're going to hatch out tomorrow, so we're going to have a little bit of a cocktail mix of plecos. I don't know if this is going to be a problem. Hopefully it won't be. I don't think it will be, but all these little pleco wrigglers are so cute. They're some of the cutest wrigglers in the entire hobby because they've got their little faces, and then they've got the massive yolk sac and a tiny tail, and then you just see that yolk sac slowly dissipate over the next coming days, and it's just super cute to see. So that's what we got going on in these 2 tumblers over here. But if we come upstairs and have a look in this tank, you can see all these little rams that we introduced in the start of the video have all started to do really well in here. There's actually hundreds in here. This was quite a big spawn. They're all hiding up the back here, and they're all eating baby brine shrimp. We'll try and give them a feeding, but they're not too keen on, you know, coming up to the top of the tank and being aggressive at eating or anything yet, because they're still really shy and they're super confused being in this huge tank. But that's something I've noticed with these rams is by putting them in these big tanks instead of putting them in a small tank and having to transfer them later on. So what I mean by that is I used to throw these guys into like a 2-foot tank, grow them out, and then move them into a 4-footer. But I stopped doing that and I just threw them into the 4-footer after I took them out of the fry box. And since I've done that, I've actually had heaps quicker growth, and I've had way less stunting, and the fins are a lot better on these guys, and it seems to work a lot better. I mean, these guys will all be ready for sale in about 2 months instead of taking 3 to 4 months. So if I can give you guys any advice, that's a good piece of advice for growing out these little rams. But you can see they're all doing good in here, and we also, in the tank next door, these guys are a little bit more hard to see. There you go, you can see them up the back there. You can definitely see the contrast in color, like they're a lot more dark. They're growing really well. I think there are a few midnights in here, which is excellent because they're worth a lot more. You can see there's maybe one midnight there. But we'll give these guys a feed as well and see how they go. I'm guessing they're not going to be aggressive either. Man, I'm all sweaty now. It's really hot in the fish room lately. It's currently summer and today was just so warm. Like I think 34 degrees, 32 degrees, something like that. Anyways, as you can see, we've got lots of fry at the moment, and a lot of people wonder what I feed my fry. And the most common thing I feed my fry is baby brine shrimp. It's like definitely the best thing. It's got such a high protein content and it makes the fry grow super quick, and it jerks around in the water a little bit. That sounds a bit bad, but it moves around in the water and it really entices the fry to eat. So I hatch that out on a daily basis. I actually hatch it out twice a day. So if you come over here, you can see up here, if you come around here, we've got the baby brine shrimp hatchery. So there's 3 hatcheries there. You can only see 2 of them because the other one's hiding behind the other. But these are the things I use to hatch out the baby brine shrimp. They're not too complicated. They're just a water bottle suspended to the ceiling, and there's an airline tubing going in. So you can see up here we've got the airline tubings going in, and if we come around here and have a look, what that does is the airline tubing blows in here and pushes air up into the tumbler and tumbles all the eggs. And then this thing here is for harvesting. So what I do is when I need to harvest, I actually have to harvest from this one over here. So when I have to harvest, I have to find which tube it is. I think this one's the one that we want today. Yeah, that's it. What I do is I just throw that up here underneath the lid. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let this settle, and all the baby brine shrimp will fall down here, and then I can harvest them out of this tube here. So now these little guys are attracted to light. Now it's been a couple of minutes here, but you can see that orange color, and that's all the baby brine shrimp, because if you look up here, there's like not really much stuff, but if you come down here, you can see all those baby brine shrimp there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna harvest these guys, and what I do is I just use a little cup like this. What I then do is I just get these guys out into the cup. So you can see all that orange coming out there. So you can really see here all those little baby brine shrimp. These guys are actually sea monkeys. They're called Artemia, and when you buy sea monkeys, they sell you these guys. So sorry little sea monkeys, you're gonna be fish food today. But I guess first off, these guys look the most hungry, so we can give them a feed first. So what I do is I grab my little pipette. What I'll do is I take a little tube of this. Now this is just like a supplemental food. I don't actually feed this to these guys as their staple. Yeah, look how keen they are. I don't feed this as a staple, I feed them mostly flake, but they get this as a treat. If we blast that in there, look at the guys go. I love that, the pivoting, like that's the classic dwarf cichlid thing. They just jump around. Look at them, dun, 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 dun. So cool. Look how good those blue rams look. I'm sorry about the algae on the glass. I thought the blue-eyed lemon plecos down below would take care of it, but do you reckon we should give them some more? Here we go, we'll give them some more. Guys, hey, come here. Some more? Oh, he figured it out. Look at that. So this stuff's just full of protein. It's like the best food you can feed your fish. And the other thing too is with it, I've never bloated fish with it. Dwarf cichlids are super prone to bloat. And with this stuff, I've never bloated my fish. This is a beautiful blue-black ram male there. Wow. All right, so they've had their feeding now. Now the next thing that needs to eat are these guys. I might do a little trick here and switch over to my iPhone camera. Okay, so I've just switched over to my iPhone camera, so if you're wondering why the quality's changed, that's why. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give these little royal whiptails a feed. You can see them all down there. You can see a royal whiptail there, that's a really dark guy. We'll go ahead and we'll give them some baby brine shrimp, so we'll just get a nice little pipette of that. We'll feed that stuff in there. These guys go crazy for it. You'll see them all start jumping around. So right there you can see a little guy jumping around. Now he's catching the baby brine shrimp. And the ones on the floor will also do it. You'll see their bellies go orange as well. They go crazy for it. Let's see if we can see this guy catch one. Yeah, we'll keep watching him. Oh, there's his friend. But you can see the rest of them like over here, up on this back wall. They'll all be catching them. They catch them really gradually. They mostly wait for them to fall down to the bottom and then they'll catch them. But, oh, you can see down here, they're catching them. Come on, you little guys. Looks like the shrimp's gonna catch a few too. There you go. So it's a little bit hard to see because the flow's so high, but these guys are actually catching the baby brine shrimp out of the water. Some of the weirdest looking fish, aren't they? I think they're really cute, but like a lot of people would think they're weird. I guess they're not for everyone, but I really do like these royal whiptails, and if I continue to have success with them, I'll be breeding hundreds of them in the future. But this is really cool to see these little guys having a good feed. They eat this, and then all that mulm down the bottom's rapashi that they haven't finished, so I might actually go ahead and clean that after I'm done recording this video, but a little guy's back in his spot. Just came back from his little adventure. Anyways, enough on these guys. We'll give them a few more doses, actually. Give them a couple more squirts, probably like 3 more squirts. They need quite a lot of it at this size. It's such a good protein content, it'll help them grow so quick. I'll give them 2 more. Just as a little treat. You can't really bloat them with this stuff. And 1 more. Oh, that's another one. There we go. All right, next up, you'll move this auto feeding system. Next up, we got the German blue rams. Look how cute they are. They actually still have food in their bellies, so I'm not going to give them too much because I'll just dirty up the water, but go ahead and give them a scoop. That's probably enough for these guys. Let's see if we can catch them eating it. Look at them go, just like their older siblings. Darting around. Oh yeah. This stuff makes them grow so quickly. These guys were eggs at the start of the video, or I guess wrigglers at the start of the video, and now look at them. Absolutely crazy. There's more down here. This is the best part about breeding fish. Just seeing these little guys eat. I don't share this with you guys enough. It's so relaxing. There's actually a lot more in here than I thought. Don't you think? Like, there's actually quite a few hundred in here. Lots more than I thought originally. I think they're all hiding underneath that moss and they come out when there's food. Anyways, that's probably enough food for them. And then what I like to do is use some of this as well for the older siblings up here. They're not going to be as active eating it. Like if we put in a few squirts, they're probably not going to do much. There you go. They're more interested in swimming at this point. But they'll eat all that baby brine shrimp. Don't worry about that. Okay, we're back to the standard camera. Now we're going to take these baby brine shrimp over to the other side of the fish room. And we're going to come down here. There's actually a lot of hydra in this tank because I've been feeding so much of this baby brine shrimp. And a little quick update, you can see here we've got some Epistogramma fire golds. We bred these about a month and a half ago. You can see they're all growing fantastic. Got a nice little male there. They're in with these peppermint bristlenose. And they're definitely hungry and ready for a feed. Look how cute these little guys are. Lots of males in here, not many females. There's a female there probably. We'll go ahead and we'll give them a feed. Now we don't really need the pipette anymore because there's so many of these guys. What we're going to do is I'll try and get the release. Probably feed about that much of it. There we go. And we'll watch them eat it. Down it goes. Look at them go. These dwarf cichlids are the most fun to feed, I think. They're little darting around. 2 males at the front, maybe a little male there, so maybe 3 males. The peppermint bristlenose also eat this stuff. You can see the clouds of this stuff just swimming around in the water. So cool. The good thing about this baby brine shrimp is that because it's a saltwater creature, because it's grown in brine, it can't carry pathogens over to the fish and make them sick. So it's a really safe food to feed as well. And it just makes them grow fantastic. Look at these little guys. Look at the peppermint's also eating a little bit of it. Super, super cute. So that's how these guys are going. They're doing really good. Now up here, we don't have many fish left over because I sold a lot of these guys this week, but we have another batch of rams. These guys were a blue-black ram batch, so there's still the blue ones left, but we sold most of the blue-blacks. Give them some of this. Oh, look at these guys. So aggressive. Here we go, we'll pour it in. Look at it. These guys can eat quite a lot of it. They're almost adult size, so I'm not too worried about overfeeding this. Look at that beautiful male. That's a stunning male right there. When you buy a ram, you want it to look like that guy. There are a few of these guys available on my website if you want to check it out, but don't feel like you have to at all. I'm just showing you guys how beautiful it is, watching these guys eat. Look at them. Greedy little guys. This actually also gets them a lot of colour, this baby brine shrimp. It's full of really good nutrients and it makes them so colourful. Like, I really do notice a difference. Look at that. Now you can see here we've just got the dregs left, so there's a few shells in there, but that's not a big issue. I've heard some people saying their fish choke on the shells. If the fish are big enough, they just pass them, so it doesn't really matter anyways. But normally I just throw this into a tank, and today, this is a tank full of fish. In here we have some dwarf neon rainbows, and we also have some celestial pearl danios that are bred. Now I haven't sold these celestial pearl danios because I want to breed them in the future. So we'll go ahead and give these guys the rest of them. Yeah, look at that, mate. They're going to go crazy. Look at this. Look at this. This is a feeding frenzy if you wanted to see one. All those fish just swimming around going nuts. So I've saved those celestial pearl danios so I can breed them in the future. So you guys can definitely expect some videos on that. Because I actually had a colony of about 8 or 9 of these guys that I was breeding. These are the parents of these fish. And you won't believe it, I had 2 males. One male jumped out and the other one got stuck under the breeding trap. So we lost all of our males and we haven't been able to produce them since. So we've had to wait for these guys to grow out. But you can see they're all ready pretty much to breed. They're pretty big fish now. There's a male there, so we'll definitely be able to continue on the generations, but that was a little bit frustrating. You can see all these guys swimming around. My camera has such a hard time focusing when I feed this fish food, but just colour everywhere in this tank. So you can see how sweaty it is. It's really hot in here right now, and I'm trying to get all these good camera angles to show you guys the fish eating, so that's why I'm sweating so much. But there obviously are a few other tanks in the fish room that I feed this stuff to. If I showed you all the tanks, we'd be here for hours. What I do after this is I reset the baby brine shrimp hatchery back up, and then I go ahead and I feed some blackworms to my other fish, and I'll also feed some flakes and stuff like that. I think I'm just going to show you guys me feeding some of the blackworms because they're really cool to see, because I want to fatten up a couple of my Dumbo bedders, because in the next video I think we're going to try and breed them. So let's get to doing that. Okay, so these guys right here, you can see them down the bottom of this little container are my blackworms. Now I buy these from my local fish shop, and I just keep them in my fridge for when I need them, and I use them for a lot of my ram cichlid breeding and my pistogramma breeding, and I also use them for bedders. Now, these guys are really good because they're full of protein and they're a live food, so they condition fish to breed, but you have to be careful because you can easily bloat fish if you feed too much of it. So feed it in moderation, but it's super exciting to feed this stuff. You can see up the back here, we've got our Dumbo-eared male bedder, so this guy's just a fighter. and he's beautiful. He's actually got a pink colour to him, which is pretty interesting. Here we go. Now he's going to come up the front because he's thinking he's going to get food, and he is going to get some food. So here he comes. Oh, he's going to love these. Look at him go. Bang, bang. The neon tetras will help clean up the rest. I've got a few more for you, mate. Here, come here. There you go. Look at him go now. I still haven't come up for a name for this guy, so chuck some names down below if you have any, but you can see him smash these worms, let the neon tetras finish the rest. And that's plenty of food for this guy. That's probably a little bit too much, but he'll be all right. So he's just enjoyed his black worms. We'll go give his female partner some black worms as well. So over here's the female. You can see her. She's stunning. Got the worms here. Where is she? There she is. Just give her about that much. There she is. Good stuff. Bang. Look at her go. Got that one too. No competition in this tank, so all these worms will be hers for tonight, and that's her dinner. I love feeding these bedders. She's so plump full of eggs, so we might breed her in the next video. I'm really excited to see that. Bang. So cute. You can see that egg spot down the bottom of her. Right down there, she's got a little egg spot. So she's still in quarantine, but she's been pretty good for the past couple of weeks, so she's nearly ready to come out. And of course, we can't forget about our rams. And here we have a trio of these German blue rams. This is a beautiful female up the front here. So she's actually really ripe. She might spawn tonight because she's got a little egg papilla hanging out. I think that's what it's called. I've got a male here. This guy's a little bit dodgy, but she hasn't been breeding with him, I don't think. She's been breeding with the other male at the back, I'm pretty sure. That guy. Maybe she's been breeding with him. Anyways, we don't discriminate. I think that's just some stunting. There you go. Look at these guys. Bang, bang. I love watching these guys eat. The black worms are so cool. So good for their breeding too. This guy's found a nice little spot to sit and eat this all up. The other thing too that's really important in the fish room, besides the other boring things, is if we come over here, a few videos ago you would remember me setting up this auto feeding system. Now, a lot of people have been asking me questions on whether this works, and it 100% works. It's been helping me so much. This actually has some rapashi in it, and I've been using it to make like green water, and I've been feeding it, like I showed you before, to the royal whiptails, and they've been doing fantastic. So what I do each night is I get this set up for overnight so the fish can continue to eat overnight, and that's pretty easy. All I have to do is take this down, give it a quick clean out, fill it back up with more food. But I was just letting you guys know that yes, this system is working. Yeah, I just have to take it down, fill it back up, and the system works really well. So that's the other thing that's really important to do, is make sure all the fish that need to eat overnight have their food set up for the night, and that'll be tonight these two containers. So the German blue rams, I'll still give them some food, and our royal whiptails. I'm not going to show you guys that because it's a little bit boring, but all I'll do is I'll get some water, mix up some rapashi in it, quite a bit of it, pour it in here, works a treat. Even more sweat. So anyways guys, I think we'll wrap the video up there. Thank you so much for watching it. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.